One summer moment can change a child's life. Through Toys for Tots Give and Go initiative, your support provides books, games, toys, and outdoor adventures that spark curiosity, creativity, and a love of nature. Whether it's fishing, learning a new sport, reading under a tree, or playing with friends, these moments build confidence and lifelong memories. For too many children, those moments never come. You can help change that this summer. Visit toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots, delivering hope beyond the holidays.
Cats and Cosby on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Oh, who in the Parks Department was going to go after the President of the United States? We have to track down who particularly did that to say, well, you can't have a birthday party on the lawn of the White House.
And they were saying, John, to your point, it's like, how bizarre is that? It's the Parks Department saying that maybe he didn't have the right permit. Are you kidding me? Or it wasn't environmentally checked.
I mean, that is right. Shame, shame, shame.
And you know what's crazy, John? Think about it. Here it is. It's Friday. His birthday is Sunday. He's been talking about it for months. He has the big UFC cage match, building the big whole, arena, outdoor arena. Thousands of people coming. So what, were they going to just cancel it 2 days before? What an absurd, ridiculous lawsuit. And I'm glad a judge shot it down. Thank goodness. What do you think, Judge Weinberg?
I think the judge did the right thing. I think it was a ridiculous attempt by the Parks Department to stop that event.
Yeah, how ridiculous. I mean, to me, this is just another example, John, of all the lawfare against this president. It's like, okay, you can't build the ballroom. You can't do this. You can't do that. It's just, this is to me the sort of like a lawfare on steroids, if you will.
They use the bureaucracy to impede him at every step.
Yeah, there is no, they can't even allow him to have a birthday party.
Well, we got a great show today. We got John Solomon, who's going to come on right away in a little while right now.
And there's some big scoops on Iran, John. Big scoops.
And John Solomon has the inside scoops over there.
That's why we love him. And before we move on, John, we got to wish Ed Cox, who's not with us today. We have Gup Patterson, but we don't have Ed Cox for a good reason.
I'm playing the role of Ed Cox today.
And Tricia Nixon. Married 50 years today. Congratulations, Ed Cox. Congratulations, Tricia.
Yay! We're so happy for them. How beautiful.
Lovely people, lovely couple.
It's been 50 years since they were married at the White House.
I was about to say, very famous wedding at the White House. The whole world saw that. That was how beautiful. 50 great years. Also, speaking of a lot to celebrate, John, Elon Musk has a lot to celebrate, right? SpaceX. And, of course, he officially becomes the first trillionaire.
Official trillionaire now. And SpaceX and my son came on the radio, and he did something talks about SpaceX on this Sunday show.
Oh, fantastic. I can't wait. Was that an exclusive?
Exclusive.
I can't wait. John Catsimatidis squared.
The one thing, the joke that we were telling around the office today, if SpaceX goes down by mistake, then Elon Musk is going to come on and say, we have a new source of income. The planet Neptune is raining. It's raining diamonds.
I have to go there. I missed that.
We're going to send a spaceship to Neptune and to gather up all those diamonds.
You know what I'm thinking, Patterson? I think we need to call George Jetson. What do you think?
I think so, too. But also, we could go to Mars, where it's raining men.
Oh, that's right. It's just like, who sang that? Donna Summer, right?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. It's Raining Men. We need that song, by the way.
The other side of midnight, I can't sleep at night, and I either talk to you at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And I listened to Walter Sterling, and I think he had a Russian cosmonaut. I was half asleep. And remember, we kept talking about the moon, Phobos, that it might be an artificial moon. Well, there was a Russian cosmonaut on, and they were watching as a Russian satellite, a Russian was going to go land on the planet Phobos, and it was shot down by something on the planet Phobos.
Very interesting.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow, that sounds really. By the way, also on Walter, you saw I talked about Area 51 with him. My visit.
Yeah. He played it twice. He played it the next day at 4:00.
He said it was back by popular demand. You guys, it's a hot thing when you go to Area 51. You got to share it with the world.
Absolutely.
Well, I read that.
Is John Solomon on yet?
Yeah, John Solomon is here.
Okay, let's have that breaking news.
Breaking news, WABC.
And joining us now with the latest breaking news, and there's a lot on a Friday here on Cats and Cosby, the founder of Just the News. John, what do you got?
Well, this one we'll put in the category of Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. Today, the Director of National Intelligence, the departing Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, revealed that the United States has been funding biolabs in foreign countries all across this world. Dangerous pathogens. We're funding foreigners to do that work in other countries, creating a potential security hazard of epic proportions. Some of these labs, as we now know, do gain-of-function research or things like that, like the Wuhan Institute of Virology, where it came from. The numbers are a little bit disturbing when you find out just how much we're putting out there. Approximately 120 biolabs the United States funded in 30 foreign countries, including Ukraine, currently in a war zone, and China. How about that for I don't know if I think that's a good idea. Tulsi Gabbard, very strong. She said the reason she wants people to know this before she departs is that still right now, the gain of function is still not technically illegal. We expect President Trump to order the end of gain of function research soon. That's where you make a virus more deadly to see if it can kill humans. It's kind of a crazy idea of research. But now we know that could occur in anywhere of 30 countries and 120 different biolabs that our tax dollars went to.
So, John, before you go further, I got to ask you about that. How can that still be going on after all the scrutiny that happened with the Wuhan lab, right down from the, quote, wet market with all the stuff with COVID?
Yeah, it is a really great issue. And it's why President Trump ordered this review. He put out an executive order a few months ago saying, hey, we're going to get to the bottom of all this research. We're going to get to the bottom of gain of function. I want gain of function to end. Let's get a path to doing that. And then let's find out where we've been putting these dangerous pathogens. I don't think anyone expected the number to be 120 foreign labs. That is a really remarkable number. It just shows you.
How many holes did we have in our cup?
Yeah, a lot. In fact,
I want all the American people listening to this, the millions of people listening to this show, to realize how many holes do we have in our pot? How many people were stealing, diverting money, et cetera, in our country without any checks and balances?
Well, just think of what we have. We have fraud by the billions, tens of billions, hundreds of billions now, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud. We've got pathogens that we're paying other countries to make dangerous. And we have scientists coming into our countries, like what just happened in Montana, what happened in Minnesota earlier, in Michigan earlier this year, bringing in deadly pathogens. We're treating pathogens like they were Halloween candy. It is a really remarkable moment for us to take stock of just how far our government has gone wild.
So John, how much of this is Fauci related? Is this a carryover or are they new? And has there been any crackdown?
Yeah, well, in her statement today, really interesting video. I encourage everyone to go on Twitter and look at what Tulsi Gabbard said. First off, she pointed out the insanity. Even if they weren't creating bioweapons, right? So maybe they weren't creating bioweapons. If Russia were to hit this lab in Ukraine and it unleashed the deadly pathogen, they would have created a biohazard in Ukraine. So why put them in a war zone? What a crazy idea. She also mentioned significantly that a lot of this rests with health professionals like Dr. Anthony Fauci. She singled him out in entities within the Biden administration's national security team who weren't telling the American public the truth after COVID. So she singled out Biden for trying to cover up just how extensive our support of overseas biolabs.
The number one thing, John, the number one thing people should think about is China themselves stopped sending flights around the region in China, especially from where that virus came from. But it kept the international flights going. That is wrong.
Yeah, and as we've seen now, we're starting to learn that our own government knew that some of our athletes in Wuhan got sick with this virus in October, November. So the warning signs were earlier. So you had two things. our own very healthy military men who are at an Olympic-like games, they came down with sickness in October 2019 that matched this. We knew it wasn't anything we had seen before, and we saw the Chinese acting a certain way as well, and yet we didn't batten down the hatches right away. And I think that, and then we tried to pretend it was a natural occurring virus, which we now know is preposterous. So that period, when we go back, will be a period not only of mishandling, but probably of significant cover-up.
By the way, some other breaking news. The government has just released more UFO files.
Yes, they did.
And the Pentagon says, the title on the Hill, Pentagon UFO files include video recreations of UFO sightings. What is a recreation of UFO sightings, sir?
Tell us.
Yeah, so they try to take a witness and get it as close to what the witness saw, so that does it look like this, does it look like that, so that they can help their investigators see, well, what else would look like this. So there are these orbs that are becoming much more prevalent in reporting, particularly in the Northeast. Significant orbs. They are described as sort of an unbelievable reddish orange color that people say they've never seen in their life, but then they have a dot in the middle, a black, white, or white dot in the middle. So some people captured them on video. Others did not see them or did not capture on video, but they tried to describe them. And then the Pentagon or FBI goes and tries to recreate them, say, does it look like this? And they'll say, no, more orange. Did it have a nucleus in it? Okay, yeah. And they try to create a recreation of it so that they can show it to other people. Was this what you saw? And try to find as much consensus about what was in the skies when we don't capture it on video. But the thing that's interesting today, in the video releases today, there were actual video footage of some of these orbs. And we're talking in the last couple of years, very recent sightings.
Wow, that's interesting.
Well, someday we will find out. And,
Speaking, John, it's Richard Weinberg. Speaking of sightings, what's going on? What's going on in Michigan with El Sayed?
Well, we'll see. I mean, he seems to be in a position to potentially win that race. His ties all across the country to extremists, and whether it's Linda Sarsour or people in the Muslim Brotherhood or others, very, very large. And I think you could end up in November having in Michigan, Maine, and maybe 4 or 5 other states, Democrats wishing they hadn't gone this far. They hadn't, as Billy Joel would say, well, I wish we didn't go to extremes. I think these candidates are going to peter out because the luggage and the baggage they have, the extremism they have, the Nazi tattoos they have, all are going to be detriments when you get to that election.
El Sayed himself is a supporter of Islamists.
He is. He's been very overt. I think he recently made a statement about Muslim Brotherhood. He has been overt in his support of people that, supportive groups and causes that most Americans say, that's not us, that's not America, we don't do that.
Terrorist organizations.
Yeah.
Hamas, Hezbollah.
And he's hanging around Hassan Piker.
Hassan Piker.
Hassan Piker. Yeah.
9/11 was a great thing because we're evil.
Yeah, America deserved it.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, his defense of Muslim Brotherhood is very troubling. As you know, President Trump was the first president to designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization. Congress is trying to do the same. But you go back and you just look at his language, his history, going all the way back to 2012 when Egypt was under the rule of a very brutal Muslim Brotherhood. This is a guy that seems to embrace radical Islamism and radical Islamists, and that's going to be a challenge for him in the fall when you have to face a general election. In a primary, right now, you can be pretty far left and fringy in the primary, but boy, when you get to the middle of the general election, we have a lot of people in the middle. I think these things are Democrats are going to have buyer's remorse come the day after the November election.
Yeah, I think they already have buyer's remorse on a number of candidates. Let's hope.
Certainly in Maine, they seem to. Yeah,
exactly. I was thinking the same thing, John. John, thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, John Solomon. Thank you for really digging in and telling the people the truth. And God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now, well, the number one economist in the country and number one on Fox Business and number one on WABC, Larry Kudlow. Larry, well, it was a great day today. I mean, SpaceX came public. Elon is a trillionaire. And you tell us, what the heck is going on?
I love this Elon story. I love the SpaceX story. I don't know how he makes money on that thing, but he's folding it in. AI will make money. The one that'll really make money is Starlink, which has already been making money. But I don't know. He'll figure it out. He's the smartest guy on the planet. The first trillionaire is an American. Think about this. The first trillionaire is an American immigrant, legal immigrant. Okay, so our traditions are maintained, and he's a brilliant guy. One of the best interviews I ever did in my whole career was with him a little over a year ago, and hats off to him. And I think everybody that rides his horse is going to make money. You know, I'm not a stock picker. I'm an index guy, buy and hold. It's going to be in some indexes pretty soon. Our reporter, Grady Tribble, says it's going to be in the next 10, 15 days. So ordinary, investors will be able to own it as part of an index, which is very cool. It's trading on the NASDAQ. It's going to be fabulous. And there'll be others like this. There'll be, there's going to be a lot of IPOs. I mean, look, the market is doing very well, right? It had a sell-off, and then it came smack right back. It was, down 900, up 900. And I think you look at the oil prices are coming down. Now, the WTI is down over 20%. Gasoline nationwide, AAA, is down about 10%. About half the states have a $3 handle. So I would say markets, whether they're right or wrong, markets are suggesting that this the beginning of the end of the war, it's not the end of the war, but the beginning of the end, inch by inch, seems to be coming. You have the memo of, this Islamabad MOU, and J.D. Vance gave the briefing to the media. We talked about it a lot on our show tonight, and all the red lines are there. All the red lines are there. The prime minister of Pakistan says Iran is on board, but we don't know that quite yet. And it's all incentive oriented. They're not going to get any money. No money even for signing the MOU. But everything else down the road, there has to be verification. Verify, verify, verify. They must show that their behavior is changing, and they have to give up the uranium, and they have to end their nuclearization, and they have to stop the terrorism, and they have to reopen the strait. It's all in it. The question is whether Iran. But markets seem to be suggesting that progress is being made. So that, that's what I can report. Now, look, the other part of the story, the economy is very strong. Jobs, manufacturing, jolts, profits are huge. Productivity is gaining. People are worried about AI losing jobs. The only problem is in the last year, with AI taking off, jobs are rising, not falling. So all that's a lot of nonsense. I had David Sachs on the show the other night. He's the AI guru, and he agrees with me. It's crazy to be bearish on that. So, John, I'm very bullish. I really like what I see. And Mr. Trump's coercive diplomacy, bombing diplomacy seems to be working. And here's the last point I want to make. Trump's secret sauce. So the story of, in the dead of night, we're getting all these ships through the Oman Channel in the Strait of Hormuz, right? Yeah. This is a great story. This is a wonderful story. So last month they got 200 ships. They got about 100 million barrels of oil. Now they're picking it up. They're going to do something like 400 ships now, and so you're going to be putting in more oil. So my calculations were 3 million extra barrels last month, probably 6 or 7 million this coming month, and probably you'll get to 10 million the week after that, the month after that. You can
see the price of oil coming down because the oil traders, which are the smartest guys in the world, see it's coming.
They know. No, they know that the ships are slipping through. They know this, and they know the quantities. You're exactly right.
And the minute, the other thing that me and you talk about all the time is interest rates, that they were using the excuse that, inflation, even though the inflation was a temporary thing with the war, we're not going to lower interest rates. And I'd like to see what's going to happen in the future.
Well, I don't think interest rates are so important right now.
I'm a debtor. You buy CDs. I'm a debtor.
I know. Well, you're a debtor and a creditor, John. You're on both sides of that trade. But I'm just saying, as far as the economy is concerned and the stock market, profits are more important than interest rates right now. And I don't think rates are going to go up or down. Kevin Warsh will speak for the first time Wednesday at the next Fed meeting. And the only thing I want him to do, he's not going to change rates.
Yes, I
neither
agree
up
with you.
nor down. He needs to tell the world what he said during his Senate confirmation hearing, and that is economic growth, strong economic growth does not cause inflation. That more people working does not cause inflation. And that those old Fed models need to be thrown out the window, buried, cremated, put a stake through their heart. He needs to make that statement. He needs to get the moral high ground and show people through his messaging. And I think he will, by the way. I
agree with you. See, me and you, the only difference is I believe in profits. You're talking the corporate world. And me, I was talking the real estate world because I'm the one building buildings. And, the lower the interest rates, the more buildings we can build. And in the real estate industry and people, the people who buy one-family homes, the age went from 29 to 41 because interest rates for a one-family home is 5.5%, 6%.
I don't actually agree with all that, but I don't want to argue with you on it.
No, there's no argument. It's just the corporate world and the real estate.
We bought our apartment in New York. We own our place in Reading. I'm long enough real estate now. I don't need any more real estate. But I'm very bullish. That's all I'll say.
I agree with you.
I'm bullish on the economy. I'm bullish on stocks. By the way, Sunday is Trump's birthday, and it's also Flag Day. Trump will be 80 years old, and America will be 250. Actually, not quite, 249, because it was July 14th, 1777 was when the first American flag was unfurled. 13 colonies, had 13 little stars on it.
Wow.
So I thought I'd throw that in, mostly to say happy birthday, President Trump.
Well, happy birthday, President Trump. And Larry Kudlow will be on from 10 to 1 tomorrow on LarryKudlow.com, WABCRadio.com, on your Amazon, all over the place. And he goes all the way to the solar system. It might take a little bit of time to get to Mars, but it gets there.
Elon and I.
I'll be listening tomorrow, Larry. Thank you for everything you do.
So long, folks. Bye-bye. Thanks, John.
Care.
And, John, before we move on, we got some interesting breaking news.
Breaking news, WABC.
Spencer Pratt, of course, who was running in the L.A. mayor's race, remember? And then the votes came in. First, he was number 2. Then the votes came in.
He was 8 points ahead.
Yes, exactly. Remember? And then suddenly the Democratic Socialists of America, then she came in. Spencer Pratt is dropping a bombshell saying that he has some audio tapes that will cause one of the candidates in the race still, that's Nithya Raman and Karen Bass, one of them will have to resign after he releases the tapes that he says. He was holding something, he says, for the general election, and he said, but now that suddenly the votes have changed where I'm out, get ready. And he is just putting it out, teasing that he's got some audio tapes that he believes will cause one of the two to resign in shame, as he is saying.
Let the truth survive.
Yeah, boy, is this not interesting, guys. Anyway, how's that for a Friday?
Governor Patterson.
Well, I don't know. If I were him and he does have these tapes, I wouldn't announce that I'm going to release them because now you've given your enemies a chance to regroup. I would have just released them.
Yeah, although maybe he's not saying who they are. He's not saying if it's Karen Bass or if it's Nithya Raman, and he's not saying the nature.
The people that the crap is going to be crapped up know that it's them.
Yeah, you would imagine.
The interesting thing is what happens if he's correct, one of them leaves the race. What happens?
Right. Well, then I guess it goes back to Spencer Pratt, right?
Does it?
Maybe.
That'll be very interesting to see.
It's an interesting legal argument, right? So what do you think, Judge?
I don't know. I have to take a look at the California law.
I think they'd have to have a special election.
I'm with the governor. I'm for Pratt, and let's have a special election. Bring him back.
And let's see what the tape is. Let's see who it is and what it is and what the nature of it. That's certainly a bombshell on a Friday night. Let's go to a break. We've got KT McFarland.
Cats and Cosby on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The biggest stage in world soccer is days away, and every goal changes everything. And now FanDuel's giving you a reason to root for every single one. Introducing Every Goal Pays. Bet on a match and get bonus bets for every goal scored in that match. Oh, that's right. More goals means more bonus bets, and all you have to do is turn on your token. Visit FanDuel.com and get started now. Let there be goals on FanDuel.
21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DCKYWY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050. Massachusetts. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 877-770-7867. Louisiana.
Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
I wrote a little song to remind you, Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Cocktails up here feel just right. Is Cambria amazing? All right. Bring a date, your team, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com. See you on the roof.
Cats and Cosby, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Breaking news, WABC.
Well, there are reports from the White House and also from Iran that we may be days away from a deal. So how legitimate? Can we trust Iran? Where's this going? Could there be something in time for President Trump's birthday on Sunday? Well, John, who better than KT McFarland, former Deputy National Security Advisor under President Trump?
I trust KT.
I do too. Trust in KT. That's a good line. We could have a bumper sticker like that, right? KT, what do you think?
I think that they've got a deal. Now, there are many details of the deal, but they've got the outline of the deal. And the reason this is different than all the 27 other times he said we're really close, is because the Gulf Arabs have all signed on. So the statement that President Trump issued yesterday from the White House was, we have a deal, and we have shown the deal to all of these countries, and they have all agreed to it. United States, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, UAE, all those countries. And the reason it's so essential to have their buy-in is because whatever deal we get, you have to verify that the Iranians are keeping their word. And you know they won't. You know they'll cheat. And when they cheat, you have to have an enforcement mechanism built in. So what's the enforcement thing? And that's why the Gulf Arabs are so important, because if there's an enforcement, let's say they're cheating and they've restarted their nuclear program, they're enriching uranium. Okay, so we have to find out that they're doing it, and that will have snap inspections, anytime, anyplace inspections, conducted by us and conducted by others. But then let's say they're cheating. So then what do? You destroy that facility. Who does it? Yeah, we could do it, sure. But you want the other countries in the region to do it. The other thing you want the other countries in the region to do is open their books, because it turns out that the IRGC was laundering money through all offshore accounts that were all in the banks of UAE and Qatar and other places. And if they're signed on to a deal, that means they'll show us their books, and that's where you follow the money. That's where you stop Iran cold in its tracks. You shut down its money.
So what happens, KT, do you think, over the next few days? And do you get the sense that it's going to happen this quickly? The other thing, too, you talked about the money. I was thinking about, there's been a lot of hoopla over whether money would be released or sanctions will be lifted. And the president came out a little bit ago, you probably saw this, saying that there will not be any sort of sanctions relief or anything until we have clear that they have delivered on what they've said they're going to do. There's some people who don't want to see them get any sanctions relief, period.
Yeah, there's no signing bonus with this. So they've got to start performing, and then maybe the sanctions are lifted. But the other thing that's important is that, and Scott Bessent sort of floated the idea, nobody in the press paid a lot of attention, but he said, look, we're going to know where the money is spent. So normally when Iran has gotten money from President Obama, others, What does he use it for? Not to build hospitals and schools, but to use it for their nuclear weapons program or to give it to their proxies, Hezbollah and Hamas. This way, well, now that we have access to the books, we'll know where that money's going. We'll know, they're not going to build a hospital with that. They're building a missile factory. And that way we can, it's almost like food stamps, I guess. You could say, well, we're allowing them to spend their money on these things, but not on these things. And we will have the ability to shut down anything that they're going to spend money on that we don't want them. Now, look, those are all a lot of details that haven't been worked out yet. But I can see the road that the president could use to get an agreement that works. Now, will Iran say, we surrender, you guys were right, we're terrible people? No, they're not going to do it. And President Trump is the kind of guy that won't rub their nose in it. I think he'll let them have some kind of dignity. They'll be able to say, it was a great victory for them. It isn't. But I think he'll let them and do this in such a way that they at least maintain their dignity. But they certainly won't maintain their weapons or their power or anything else. And then finally, I'm going to watch the oil. Who's going to deal with the oil? I think President Trump has in his mind, the kind of deal we have with Venezuela. We'll go help you rebuild, but we want a percentage.
Yeah, that would be interesting because he also talked about Carg Island. We also have with us Governor David Patterson.
KT, I'd like to hear your thought on this. I think that because we live in a civilized society, because we have a legal system that protects us, because when people disregard the law, we have a way of punishing them. We almost come to the belief that everyone else is that way. And so when you have a negotiation, we think that, once we reach an agreement, all we have to do is sign the papers and move on. When in fact, people, Iran and other territories around the world, they're still in the 13th century. They will look you in the face and lie and make you believe that they're really sincere.
That's actually even part of their ethic. It's called taqiyya. It is that you can lie. Allah lets you lie if it's to protect yourself. So yeah, they're not worried about, quote, what you and I would call the truth.
Taqiyya, I'm going to remember that.
Yeah, Taqiyya, something like that.
All right.
But, so they're going to break it. We know they're going to break it. You're going to assume they're cheating. That's why you have to have the ability to inspect them and then to punish them. So let's say, for example, in the Obama nuke deal, the deal was that they could have inspections, that they would have to make an appointment with Iran to say, we would like to look inside that mountain to see if there are any nuclear facilities. And Iran could say, well, it's not convenient. How about coming back in 2 weeks? Or don't look at this one, look at someplace else. No. In a Trump agreement, you've got to have the ability for snap inspections. In other words, anytime, any place, you can knock on a door, and if they say, no, not convenient, come back next week, you assume they're cheating, and you destroy the site.
Well, let's see what happens. It's going to be an interesting weekend. That is for sure. And we'll see. Let's see. Let's pray for peace. President Trump wants it. Yeah, big time. KT, thank you. We always love having you on. Thank you, KT.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, KT, and look forward to breakfast.
Totally agree on that one.
And
that was a great reaction there.
Rita, the top news of the day, please.
Absolutely.
And we're looking for a sponsor.
Well, we have one, but we'll get one, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we have one. They're coming soon. Here we go.
It's the top news of the day. Here's Rita Cosby.
And here is some of the news of the day. There was a gunman, by the way, who opened fire on bystanders in Midland, Texas this morning. That gunman is now dead. Officials identify the suspect as 45-year-old Victor Villarreal, who has been wanted in the murder of a police officer. He barricaded himself into an abandoned building after firing shots on officers and bystanders this morning. One person was killed, 10 others were injured in that shooting. Very sad. It's about 330 miles west of Dallas. And on some happy news, the U.S. men's national team is going to take on Paraguay in its first World Cup match. That's at 9 o'clock tonight. That will be played at a stadium there in Los Angeles. By the way, Canada is facing off against Bosnia-Herzegovina in Toronto. And then tomorrow, the first match kicks off at MetLife in the Meadowlands. It is Brazil squaring off with Morocco. So let the games begin. And everybody, coming up, we're going to talk to Professor Alan Dershowitz. I can't wait to ask him about this bombshell Spencer Pratt news and so much more.
Cats and Cosby
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Cats and Cosby, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Breaking news, WABC.
And boy, oh boy, this looks like a Friday surprise. We've got Spencer Pratt, who was the Los Angeles mayoral candidate. Remember, Republican/independent reality star who really took hold. People loved him. He was doing great. Then suddenly, obviously, when the absentee ballots and the mail-in ballots, all that got counted, he got pushed out of the race. Well, now he said, I am declaring war. This just came out, saying that he has recordings that will cause one of the two remaining in the race, which is Karen Bass and Nithya Raman, one of them to resign in shame. And this just came out that Pratt is saying that he has potential recordings from their own employees. So this is getting really wild. He said, I am declaring war. So let's go to Professor Alan Dershowitz. Professor Dershowitz, boy, oh boy, how do you read this? And what could happen if say, who knows what's in the recordings, who knows where it goes? If it turns out that it does cause someone to have the reaction he thinks, what happens to the race?
Well, I sure hope that whatever he has against the number 2 candidate, that woman, radical, anti-Semite, anti-American who finished second and beat him out. That would be the big, big, big victory. And the Californians would have to figure out how to get her out of the race if that's who the person is. If it's against the mayor, I wouldn't be so happy about that. But we have to wait and see. We can't just judge it based on his statement that he's declaring war.
Yeah, of
We
course.
We have to see the facts.
Professor, how does that work? Like, if just curious too, like if there was something that's bombshell, and again, we don't know, it's an if, do they do a special election? How would that work if somebody were to drop out? I mean, I've never heard, how does that work?
Well, it's very hard. It depends completely on local law. She would have to drop out. That would be the first thing. She couldn't be forced out. No matter how bad the evidence is, she couldn't be forced out. She would have to be voluntarily leave. And then, who knows? Maybe the committee or some party committee could put a substitute in, or maybe the third place person would take over. That would be the logical thing, of course, because he didn't lose by that much. He had I remember 25%, the next one at 28%, 29%. So the logical thing, obviously, would be for the third place candidate to replace the second place candidate. But I do think we're getting ahead of ourselves. I'm hoping that we're right, and I'm hoping that the second place candidate is the person on whom he has the tape recordings. I'm also waiting for the next shoe to drop on Plattner. I cannot believe that this is all we have on him. I suspect we're going to see much, much more before this election. It could be that the Republicans are holding back and waiting until maybe in October or September before they reveal the really bad stuff. But I'm sure there's going to be bad stuff. What I'm so worried about with Plattner is he's formed a new type of candidate, the thug, Nazi, macho, woman-hating, kind of rape-justifying guy. And there was an article the other day in one of the papers saying that's the candidate that the Democrats now like. They want to get the average person, as if the average person justifies rape and the average person wears a Nazi tattoo. It's really so insulting to hardworking Americans for anybody to say that Plattner represents hardworking Americans. He doesn't. He's a bum. He is a guy who got all of his money from his parents. He inherited everything, never worked a day in his life. He shucked a couple of oysters and sold them to his mother. I mean, my God, what a horrible candidate. And what a horrible thing that the worst person in the whole United States Senate, Bernie Sanders, is now enthusiastically supporting him, along with perhaps the second worst person in the United States Senate, Liz Warren.
Yeah, it is really astounding. Governor Patterson.
Alan, this guy, after he wins, and he's having his victory speech, was the most antagonistic, challenging, just absolutely inappropriate way to talk. After all the trouble he's been in, I would have thought that he would have gotten up and recited a couple of things that he knew he had done and tried to talk about how he's reformed and what he wants to do in the future. But it was maybe the most horrible speech I've ever heard someone. You would have thought he lost the way he was speaking.
Yeah, but that's because he represents a new generation, a generation of angry, entitled, furious people who apparently like to vote for people like that. I mean, in my generation, you'd never dream of putting somebody like that on the ballot. In your generation, we're living in a different world, unfortunately, and it's a world that's crass and that's, it rewards bad behavior and bad conduct. And it's so selective. If you're on one side of the political spectrum, it's okay, you can do anything. But if you're in the other side, my God, you can't do anything. So, we live in a world that's so divided, but I'm so worried that Planet represents a new phenomenon in American politics that could spread. Because if he wins in Maine, we're going to see thugs like him with KKK emblems, with the nooses around their neck, with everything. We're going to see them become the candidates because they're the real people. No, they're not the real people. The real people are decent, nice people who go to work every day and don't wear Nazi tattoos and don't beat their girlfriends.
I agree 110%. We got ourselves into such a bizarro world, and I've told a lot of people at the White House, no names mentioned, that these people are putting on a play. They create a scene, and they spend $50,000, $100,000 creating a scene that they're right, and they're protesting, and then the major networks they put it on, and they get $1 zillion worth of advertising. Right. I mean, this is such craziness what's going on in our country.
And it's the fault of CNN. It's the fault of the New York Times. Thank God there are people like you who have access to the White House, who can talk to our president, our vice president, and others, and can talk sense. I mean, you are Mr. Common Sense, and that's why I love being on your show, Mr. Common Sense. And I think Americans have common sense. But my God, if they start voting for people like this, forget about common sense. That's the road to dictatorship. When you have thugs like that who appeal to people. Stalin was a thug. Hitler was a thug. Mao Zedong. And we're now seeing people voting for thugs.
Yeah, it is frightening. The bar boy has hit rock bottom. I 100% agree. Professor Dershowitz, we love you. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, and thanks for promoting common sense.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
you too.
So much.
You too. And John, we have Melissa DeRosa, a former senior
Melissa.
aide.
She is one tough gal.
She's the best. Absolutely. And I love tough women. Melissa, that's why I love you.
That's why I love you too, Rita. Right back at you.
Thank you. How
about me?
Yeah, what about John?
I mean, John, come on. You know how I feel. That's you, John.
We
Don't
do.
get me in trouble here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. We both love John. We're vice presidents of his fan club, Melissa.
That's right. That's right.
Now, let's pick it up where we were talking about with Professor Dershowitz. I saw you were making some comments about Graham Plattner, and you can't make this up. We haven't had a chance to talk about this yet. Hunter Biden came out and said, Graham Plattner, show us your phone. And I thought maybe he was going to have some voice of reason at this point. And then he said, because once I see your phone with all your messages on this sexting app, people are going to realize that this is nothing unusual than what other people do. I mean, he's has the bar become so lowered that I guess maybe compared to Hunter Biden's phone, maybe Graham Plattner's phone isn't so bad.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I saw Hunter Biden weighing in on this today, and it's like, you know what the Democratic Party doesn't need? To hear from Hunter Biden. I don't know why he decided that he was going to become active on Twitter. I don't know why Gavin Newsom is giving him a platform going on his show. Hunter Biden, Mr. Laptop, Mr. Hookers and cocaine and children that he fathered and didn't acknowledge the existence of for years and years. Like, this is not a person that needs to be creating permission structures for other people like him to enter the public eye. So, yeah, I think Hunter Biden should be doing less right now, not more. We don't need to be hearing from Hunter Biden.
Judge Weinberg?
Melissa, I couldn't agree with you more. I think he could add in his mother as well, the bride of the former president. And her book tour.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, her book tour.
I mean, the Bidens are the gift that keep on giving.
Jill Biden. Oh, yeah. God, no. Lady Macbeth, exit stage right. It's like the Democratic Party just wants to move on from the dumpster fire that was 2024. And it's like we're in this hell that we can't escape for whatever reason. And then we find out that Joe Biden has a book coming out in September. So just in time, Democratic Party can relitigate the fact that everybody lied about Joe Biden's, potential mental capacity issues in the final years that he was in the White House and, jamming Kamala Harris onto the ticket without a primary process in the last minute and running one of the worst campaigns in history. And so, it's the Democratic Party is actually in a moment where they could be well positioned given inflation, oil prices are on, all these things, but we just can't get out of our own way. So this just continues to be part of that. But to go back, Rita, on the Graham Plattner situation, I was one of the first Democrats to speak out against him.
Yep.
And the far left wing of my party lost their minds. I mean, the ad hominem attacks, how dare you vote blue no matter who. And then, a couple of days later, the sexing scandal erupts. And then a couple of days later, the Times story comes out about the mistreatment of the former girlfriends and that he lied about the Nazi tattoo. But, we're in so deep, the Democratic Party, especially these Bernie Sanders-backed candidates, everybody links arms, and if you step out of line and you criticize any of them, you get attacked and bullied, and they say that you're disloyal and none of these things should matter. Meanwhile, it's the same group of people who canceled people like Al Franken, who is a comedian and, who promoted all of these ridiculous things against other Democrats that they just didn't like because they weren't far left enough for them. So the selective application of outrage and all of this, it's like nobody has any ground to stand on anymore. It's just the whole thing is like, we've reached another level here, like what Professor Dershowitz was saying.
Yeah, I agree. Governor Patterson.
Melissa, what if the Democrats in Maine, in spite of what happened in that primary, let him know that they're not going to help him, they're not going to support him, they're not going to tolerate all of these different ways that he talks about people and that sort of thing. I guess at that point, you would think that the Republican Susan Collins is going to win, but maybe one of these days, somebody's going to have to take the fall so that the party can be reunited. Because right now, it's just there's absolutely no rules and there are absolutely no ideas that seem to be anything more than repetition of previously unsuccessful conversation.
No, it's Governor, you're 100% right. And it's interesting. I was on Fox News a couple of weeks ago and I was, debating Bernie Sanders' top advisor. And anytime I raised the merits of the problems with Graham Plattner, the Nazi tattoo, previously saying women who, were raped have to take personal responsibility, just some of the most important things the man had said. The answer I got from
he said that in the interview.
Well, I was raising those as issues, and his response was just noun verb AIPAC, noun verb oligarch. It's like, they are programmed in this way where they don't care, and they say if you're criticizing Graham Plattner, you must be part of AIPAC, you must be supporting AIPAC, as if there's any relevance to that in the conversation whatsoever. But this is the stark divide in the party, and the DSA is making a move to take over the Democratic Party. Don't kid yourself. That is the larger thing that's at play here, is that these extremist fringe left Democrats who call themselves Democrats, but they're not even real Democrats. Bernie Sanders, by the way, is worth repeating, is not a registered Democrat. He's not, although he acts like he's the de facto head of the Democratic Party. He's coming to Brooklyn, I believe on the 18th, to stump for Zoran Mamdani's candidates who are running against people like Adriano Espaillat, who's the chair of the Hispanic caucus, has a 100% voting record, voting with Democrats, is a great representative for his district. And we've got Bernie Sanders coming into Chuck Schumer's backyard and Hakeem Jeffries' backyard, who are the leaders, to stump against the incumbents in New York City. Because this is about them taking over the party. That's what's really going on here. The divide in the party is splitting wide open, and moderate Democrats who actually care about delivering for working people, who actually have done the work over the years, are being marginalized and pushed out for these fringe Democrats that promote socialist and communist ideas that, to Governor Patterson's point, have failed everywhere they've been tried.
Yeah, 100%. By the way, did you see Ro Khanna, who is the guy who's been rallying with Plattner? He's been the biggest apologist for him ever, I think, the guy from California. He actually took it to Schumer the other day, and because he was mad because Schumer originally supported Janet Mills, who is the governor. Well, now he's kind of come around and supporting Plattner, or at least he's not slamming him. And that's not good enough for Ro Khanna. He's going and he's blasting Schumer, calling him weak, calling it, like, in other words, if you're not 110% with us, no matter how crazy our candidate is, you're against us. I mean, it's a mess.
No, it's a total mess. And I think Ro Khanna has his eye on 2028. I think he's going to try to run in the Bernie Sanders lane, which will be interesting when he tries to take that mantle. But no, Schumer is getting attacked on every which side. His approval numbers, I think, have never been lower. But, he wanted to win Maine. He thought that he picked a candidate that had a good shot at taking on Susan Collins. And, at the end of the day, yes, Plattner won the primary, but he was running unopposed, essentially. The other candidates had dropped out, and he was running on his own, and he still got 70% of the vote. But my question is that 30% that didn't vote with him, are they more moderate? Are they people who truly are not with him? And then we'll end up voting for Susan Collins, and then we lose what otherwise would have been a gettable seat because we ran somebody so reckless who hadn't been properly vetted, who everyone is now losing their credibility over defending in order to say, he's great and wonderful and he's moved on and we should all move on and be with him. So, no, the whole thing is a mess.
It's a mess. It's a mess. Melissa DeRosa, thank you, honey. Have a great weekend. We love you. Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you. And John, I understand we have calling in right now Chris Rea, the Deputy FBI Director.
With us today is Christopher Rea, and he is the co-deputy director of the entire FBI. And we got to know him well in New York when he was the assistant director in charge in New York, and he did such a great job. He got promoted. And we'd love to hear, we're going into June. There's a lot of things happening in our country. You have the new soccer tournaments. Give us the priorities of the FBI for this month.
I want to kind of talk about just the historic and, quite frankly, generational reforms that our new director has put in over the last year. He sent a office-wide email out with about 70-plus reforms, major reforms, overhaul the agency. And, of course, I don't have the time to go over all 70 of them, but I would like to go over just a few of them, which I think will dovetail into what we're going to be, what we really want to talk about is the FIFA World Cup coming up. But really, just to give you a flavor of these reforms, and any one of these reforms, would have taken months, if not years, to do. And to do 70 of them gives you an idea of just the breadth and depth of change, positive change that we're going through. But just to name a couple, first thing he did very shortly on is he pushed about 1,200 resources out to the field from headquarters. Through the years, headquarters had got very top-heavy, and at one point we had a third of the workforce inside the Beltway there, in the National Capital Region there. Well, as you know, John, a third of the work doesn't happen inside the Beltway there, or inside the National Capital Region. So one of the first things he did was push 1,200 resources out to the field to put them where the work actually happens. The other thing, and I think we talked about it last time on our show, is he helped to establish these new Homeland Security task forces, which are really focusing on the drug cartels that have been designated by President Trump as as foreign terrorist organizations, and really a whole brand new way of taking a whole of government approach as we combat those threats, that very serious and significant threat that I know New York sees on a daily basis. And then the last one I just want to touch on, again, there were 70 of them, so 67 more I could go through, which I won't go through. But the last one, which I think will dovetail nicely into what we're going to be experiencing this summer, is we have made a lot of space through the director's leadership, through the White House task force on drones. We've gained a lot of ground in the counter UAS or counter drone space. And I will tell you, we are much more prepared going into significant events like Sail 250, America 250, and FIFA World Cup when it comes to combating drones because of the work that we've put in. The last year, we've done a lot of work to delegate those authorities down to the local level, we also purchased a lot of equipment to not only detect these drones but to mitigate these drones, and we've trained officers all over the country so we can push this capability out to the 11 different cities that we're going to be experiencing the FIFA World Cup later. In fact, I think starting today, as a matter of fact, or on Friday, as part of the game series that are kicking off.
So, Christopher Rea, thank you for everything you do to save our country, help our country, and the FBI is the best law enforcement agency in the world, and thank you for what you do.
All right, I appreciate it, John. Thanks for having me, and always enjoy coming on your show.
Thank you. And we will continue that conversation. I understand he'll be calling in on Sunday morning at the Cats Roundtable.
Great.
And he was he was in charge in New York until he was promoted, and now he's in charge, the number 2 man at the FBI in the country.
That's a big deal, right underneath the director, Kash Patel. That is a big, big deal. And obviously the FIFA World Cup, like he was talking about security, is a big endeavor.
He has the responsibility of the World Cup of keeping everybody safe. It's in 12 different cities, and Andrew Giuliani is coming on the Cats Roundtable on Sunday too to talk about the World Cup.
That's a lot of
all the 12 cities that
responsibility.
it's going on, and again, Sunday's the president's birthday.
Yeah, big day. I can't wait. Starts with Cats Roundtable, and then you end with the big UFC fight and Washington.
And
that's
so
a
we
day.
take a break, and then we have Joe Concha has some. Stay tuned. Joe Concha has some interesting things.
Cats and Cosby
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Cats and Cosby, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And we are back here on Cats and Cosby. And John, you were just talking with the deputy director of the FBI, Chris Rea, about security for the World Cup. One of the things I saw, you guys, you can't make this up. Mullen, Secretary Mullen, Department of Homeland Security secretary, came out and said that he's kicked out at least 2 people, pretty senior people on some different teams. One of them was a guy from Somalia who was a referee for the FIFA for the World Cup games. So you can't make this up, Gov. That he had ties to Al-Shabaab, which is a terrorist group. And so he said, I'm not going to let the guy in, but this gets better. One of the mayors in Canada came out and said, we'll take him. If you're not going to let him in, we'll take this guy with terrorist ties.
I mean, are they nuts?
Isn't that incredible, John?
Are they nuts?
I mean, we want him in our country.
Just bring in all the fifth columnists you can.
Right.
All the potential threats to national security. Just let them on in.
And then she was blasting ice, you guys.
I want everybody listening to this show to realize what the heck is going on.
I mean, it's like insane world. Like, I want a terrorist in my country. She said, we'll let him come into our country. And then also she was criticizing ICE, saying, screaming at the top of her lungs. This was the mayor of Toronto saying, ICE, how dare you do this? This is so terrible. This is a sport. What, so you're supposed to let terrorists in your country? I mean, where are the rules?
The rules are...
Mayor of Toronto?
Yeah, mayor of Toronto. Wow.
But we have a mayor who wants to abolish ICE. He just said it the other day again.
Well, guys, it's TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. Roger just reminded me to say TGIF.
Yeah, they're very important. We love Roger. Love you, Roger.
I guess Joe Concha fell asleep someplace.
Yeah, maybe they're working him too hard. Maybe he's been watching the Knicks. He's praying. He's praying for Saturday that they win.
Well,
that's what he's doing.
Thank you all for listening, and I'll be on the Cats Roundtable on 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock on Sunday morning.
And you're going to have a great show. You've got some great folks coming on. I can't wait.
Show.
And happy birthday again to the president, right, John?
Absolutely. And what do we all stand for?
Truth, justice, and the American way.
God bless America.
Thanks for listening to Cats and Cosby with John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. You can hear Cats and Cosby weekdays at 5. It's the 5 o'clock show on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Roger Stone here. Your dollars are losing ground, but gold isn't. American Sovereign Bullion helps you protect your wealth through real, tangible assets. Through their nationwide wholesaler network, you get some of the best pricing on gold and silver delivered straight to your door. Since 1912, the U.S. dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to prove its strength. So call 844-272-2428. That's 844-272-2428. Or visit dyingdollar.com to request your free gold and silver guide. That's dyingdollar.com.